Alright, so I'm getting ready to set up to try and fix the tailgate issue. This probably looks a little sketchy, but I got a porta power rubber block and then I'm dispersing the weight across that. We are having issues with the latch hitting right here. This panel right here is a 1/4 inch off. So when you shut it, I don't think I can get in there. That's hitting. Okay, so here's a quick measurement before. We need to get to 4 feet. Alright, so I feel like we got it pretty good now. You can see we're pretty much on the money almost. I don't want to go too far because then the gaps start closing in. And we don't want that because we were pretty happy with the gaps. But if I put the hatch down now, we don't hit. It just shuts. And the gaps are really good. So that is really good news. I'm going to go through and remove everything that's on this side of the panel. Probably just do this side today, do the other side another day. See how this goes. It really hurts to see people that don't know what they're doing just use filler to keep covering up all of the problems instead of actually fixing the panel. You can see how long it's actually taking me to remove about 3 to 4 different layers by watching the shadow from the tripod. So you can also really get a sense for how much filler is on the panel by just watching all the dust that's coming off. It's actually pretty disgusting to see that there was that much on the panel. Okay. I don't know if it's best in my shadow or in the light. Really see how I don't have all of the mud work out of it yet. It is not the nicest panel. There's a big gap right here. Big. Up here isn't too bad. More mud. Yeah. Interesting. Alright. Alright, so we got a lot of the filler that was on the panel off. We're going to go and fix a lot of the little areas now. There's a lot of low spots and some waves through it. I know a lot's probably not showing up on camera, but like right here's a really high spot. I'm gonna dig out more of the mud and try and fix a lot of it. There's a really low spot right here. We're just gonna start attacking the panel, trying to fix a lot of this stuff to get it a lot nicer finish form. Yeah, very cool. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going in with a smaller wheel, removing the excess filler that's still on the panel, and then I'm going to hit it with a DA just to clean it up one more time. And then I'll go in with the stud gun and hammer and start working at all the low spots, pulling those out and then removing the high spots around that area. So what I'm doing here now is I'm reaching behind the panel with a dolly on the back side, and I'm just hammering it flat. Once I got it to a spot that I like, move on to the next area. Alright, so what you see me here doing is I'm fighting the lip of the panel where it was welded. There's a lot of little waves to it. I'm just trying to neutralize those out. Moving on to the back side now, where I'm just removing a lot of the filler again that's still on the panel. Up on camera, but it is. You can see all of like the weird areas where the filler was. Woo. So what you'll see me doing here is I'm gonna use the stud gun to create a hot spot. Then I'm going to use a rag with some water on it to cool that spot down really quickly. What that's going to do is create a lot of tension on the panel above and below it, but it is also going to create a high spot where I'm doing that, and I'll go in at a later point and remove that high spot. That just allows me to fix the panel easier while pulling and lowering other high spots and low spots. So what I'm doing here is you can see the panel was welded in the wrong location, so I'm going to go in and relieve that area so it can be pulled into the proper location. You can really see how much it moved just from the first pull. And I'm just going around now feeling all the areas and then fixing to what my hand's telling me. Again, because I relieved that area, now I can apply more tension to the panel. So I'm just going in and doing that until I'm at a point where it feels really good. Then I'll go in and start working out all the dents with the actual stud gun. But because I found another area like that spot, I have to go back in and relieve that area and fix that spot too. You'll see me use my finger to mark the low spot. So when I look away to pick up the stud gun, I know where the low spot's gonna be to put the stud at. A lot of what I'm doing is just by feel and not by the eye. I'm really feeling those low spots and high spots and what needs to come in and what needs to go out. I hope this really gives you an idea how long this process actually takes to get something that's workable, rather than just most shops where they hammer the spots down really far then fill it with a lot of filler. My goal is to really get a panel with as little amount of filler as we can without going crazy into the amount of hours put into it, where you'd be better off putting a new panel on. Okay, so here's a look at the quarter panel after I took a lot of the damage out that was still in the panel. I realize a lot of this stuff doesn't translate too well on camera, but a lot of the low and high spots have been minimized to something workable that can be used with just filler. Alright, so I'm just jumping quick back in the quarter panel. There was a spot right here that was bothering me because it was welded in, you know, it was welded that way, like that kind of, and when I cut it, it released it, and a lot of it now is a lot more straight. I just need to pull it out just a little bit more, but it feels so much better than what it was. And then I'm gonna make a plate that'll go behind this when I weld it, so that way the weld can sit in there and it's not blasting through. Same with the bottom one. I'm gonna also try and straighten this line a bit more because that is not straight. Okay, yeah, you can definitely see now it's a lot straighter. Is it gonna be perfect? No, but I should do. Looks like it's tucked in. I'm gonna put another plate back there, weld it and seal it up. Alright, so I got some pretty thick stuff here, just laying around. I'll cut a piece out, a few pieces out, and use that for the inner plate for welding. Okay, so here's what the piece looks like that'll go back there. Trimmed it down a bit, kind of matches the angle. See if we can grind it in so you guys can see. Kind of hard to hold and record at the same time, but that's kind of what it'll look like. It'll be closer, obviously, to the front. Yeah. All right, here's the first one pretty much done. I'll need to take it out and put some weld-through primer on it, but I think that'll do. Yeah, that should do. Now I gotta start on this big one. Yay! Alright, this is what, pretty much what we're looking like before weld. Hopefully I can get some, I'm out of welding gas, so I'm gonna hopefully get some tomorrow. Yeah, took a few hours to do, actually. Doesn't look like much, but to get it set right and clean up the inside and everything.